All right, yeah. Good evening, everyone. Hope you have all had a great day so far. So we are currently about 11 on this call, but I know we are supposed to be more than this, so hopefully other people will join us. We proceed. So once again, welcome. Very glad to have you all on this call. I can see some names. I can see Rosalind, Zeddy, and some other people here on the call. So I'm very glad to have you on the call. Uh, this is the red team path, and what we are going to be doing really is just to have fun as much as possible, then learn along the way as well. So, during the very first class, I gave you all an assignment for those of you that decided to choose the red team parts. And the assignment I gave is on our very first call, you are going to tell me what you think hacking is. So for every one of you on the call, what I'm going to do is I want to get to know you as well. So just unmute, tell me your name and tell me what you think hacking is. So let's take some minutes to do that, about 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to call you, tell me your name and what you think hacking is to you. So I'm going to start with Anne. Good evening, Anne. Can anyone hear me?
Hello, yeah.
Yeah, Anne, good evening.
Good evening. Hacking to me is, I think it's just an art of penetrating to systems.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, Deborah, good evening. Hmm. Deborah, if you are speaking, I can't hear you.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah. Okay, so my name is Deborah, and what hacking means to me is unauthorized access to computer networks.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Janet. Good evening,
Hello,
Janet.
good evening. My name is Janet, and what hacking means, I think, is gaining unauthorized access, for example, to a computer network or data in a system. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Janet. Lucy. Good evening, Lucy.
Good evening.
Yeah.
For me, I believe hacking is getting access to systems illegally or legally to test the competence of the systems.
Okay. Thank you. Lunani. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Good evening. I think hacking involves the unauthorized access to someone's computer in order to gain information.
Okay. Michelle.
Good evening. So basically, hacking to me means gaining an authorized access to a computer system and both legally and illegally.
Okay. Thank you, Michelle. KG.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
So I think hacking is breaking into someone's computer. It could be yours, but it could be someone else's, but it's just breaking it. To me, it's like breaking into a house, but this is
Oh,
computer.
thank you. Kazim. I don't know how to pronounce that first name, so forgive me. Kazim.
Okay, to me, hacking is just getting an authorized access to something forcefully or unforcefully, both depends.
Okay, thank you. Rachel. Rachel, are you there? Okay, Praise.
Okay, I think hacking is gaining unauthorized access or unauthorized manipulation or control of computer systems, network.
Okay, thank you. Zeddy.
Hi, my name is Zeddy. I think hacking, like most of us understand it, would be gaining access to a system or data, information, anything of the sort, without prior authorization.
Okay, thank you. Then Hilda. Hilda, good evening.
Yeah, I can hear you. What my definition of hacking, I can say kwamba hacking ni illegal gaining of restricted information from a system or an application.
Okay, thank you, Hilda. I think that's everyone. Yeah, that's everyone. Maybe one other has joined us. Roslyn, are you there? Your background is muffy kind of. But yeah, you have all given great definitions of what hacking is, and by all standards, yes, they are very much correct. So they are very correct definitions. But personally, I kind of define hacking differently, which is why I asked each one of you to look for what hacking means to you. So during this entire period we are going to use together to learn about red teaming, it's going to be more about shaping the way you think about things, trying to make you see things in a different way, and then also learn along the way, and generally make you prepare to become a better red teamer or a better ethical worker, penetration tester, anyone you decide to do. So for my own definition for hacking, it may not really suit you that much, but that's how I think of hacking. So generally to me, hacking is hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Everyone is so quiet for my liking. I hear people will talk a lot in this part of place. But yeah, I was saying, what the way I define hacking to me is just hacking is thinking. That's the way I say it. All the definitions you are giving, they are actually very correct. They are technical definitions, and in all aspects, they are right. correct definitions, but I like to keep things simple. And to me, hacking is thinking. And there's a reason for that. So whatever activity you do that you say you want to hack into a system. For you to hack into the system, you need to be able to think about some things. You need to be able to know what that system is doing in the first place, what services are running, what protocols are used on the system. All these things, there are things you need to reason about. So you need to think about these things first before you go ahead to hack into the system eventually. So to me, basically put, hacking is just thinking. If you can think, of course you can hack. Everybody that can think can hack, but it doesn't go the other way around. So it goes beyond gaining unauthorized access to a system. It goes beyond breaking into a system. It's just, if you can think about a particular thing, if you can think about anything really, you can do it. And that really goes far back to the first kind of hackers we had. They were called freaks then, or crackers. Those guys, there was no computers then to hack into. Not as much as we have computers today. And there was hacking far back then. And what they were doing was finding ways to make calls free of charge. So if you have did some history of how hacking actually started, they are called phone freaks. And the reason they call them phone freaks was because of what they did. And what did they do? They are telephone companies, and what they did was find a way to make calls free of charge, or to make calls lesser than how much it should be charged. So it's just not about just gaining access into things. It's the way you think about things really. How you say things is what's going to make you better hackers, better red teamers. And so during this entire period, what I'm going to be trying to do is, we are going to definitely learn how to use tools, definitely learn how to hack into various systems, which is expected. But again, as much as that is important, we also try to see how we can view things differently, how we can think of things differently. Because even if we go beyond just our systems alone, there's still the social engineering aspect, where you need to, that's the act of you hacking people, right? So, and people are different. If you use a particular tactics on one person, does not mean that it will work on the other person. So you must be able to think of new ways, be creative in the things you do to make sure things work out for you eventually as you want. So my basic definition of hacking is thinking. That's the way I like to define hacking. And of course, the other technical definitions, they are very much correct. So you are not wrong in any way. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now, and I just start off today's session. And if you have any questions at any point, please raise your hand, ask your question, or you can drop your question in the chat so I attend to it. And I also want to believe most of us are connected with our systems. Is that correct? Are we connected with our systems? I need responses.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yesterday, we looked at what networking is. So can anyone give me a definition of networking, just to refresh our memory a bit? Just what is networking? You people are so quiet for my liking. Do I have to start calling names for that?
Well, I missed yesterday's class.
Or I have not seen the recording yet.
No, I'm waiting for it.
Okay. I know some people are on this call and they are in yesterday's class. I know them and they are listening to me. So please, anyone just give me a definition of what networking is. There are no wrong answers really. There are no wrong answers. So tell me your definition of networking. And it's not a trick question like the one I asked for hacking. So please just give me a technical definition.
So I'd say networking is a communication between systems, basically.
Yeah, that's very much correct. So networking in its simplest form is just communication between systems, any kind of system, computer resources, any kind of device really. That's what networking is. And we try to, okay, Prey said the way computers or network are able to communicate effectively. Yeah, that's correct. And the reason networking is important to us as red team as ethical hackers is because like most of the definitions you have given, you are going to be breaking into systems eventually. And for you to be able to get into a system, you need to understand how that system works, how it communicates. And for that, we need to understand networking. We need to know what networking is. Maybe not as much as network engineers do, but to some level, we need to understand what networking is. We need to understand what protocols are, and also we need to understand how we can use these protocols to our advantage when needed. Yeah, Kazim, that's correct as well. Thank you. So, if you have not seen the recording for yesterday, please do so. We try to cover some basic definition of networking and network devices and the likes. So for today, I'm going to finish up on to talk about network protocols and why network protocols are important. So network protocols they are just rules that govern how computers communicate on a network. I have a much more simpler definition for this. The way I say it is, we are all on this call now. We are from different countries, right? And I'm speaking English. For someone in Kenya, you can listen to what I'm saying. At least you are understanding what I'm saying. For anybody in South Africa, same thing. So when we are able to speak the same language and being able to understand each other, that is what protocol is all about. So if I want to speak to someone else, as long as I'm able to speak in a language that they understand and they can talk to me back in that same language, that is protocol. So if I come to this class now, I mean, one of the native languages we have in Nigeria here is we have Yoruba, we have Igbo, all those languages. If I come to this class now and I start speaking Yoruba, which is my native language, I'm sure, I mean, maybe some people that are from Nigeria here, people like Mbeni Keji will probably understand what I'm saying, but someone like Zedi, someone like Kazim, I'm very sure they won't understand a word I'm saying. And the reason for that is because I'm not speaking in a language they understand. I'm not communicating. So I may be speaking to them. They may hear everything I'm saying, but there won't be communication because they definitely won't understand what I'm talking about. So if I'm able to find a way to say something in a language that they understand and everybody is able to talk to me back in that same language, that's what a protocol is all about. It's just when you have two systems now, bringing that same analogy, bringing that same concept into systems. When we talk about systems, system A wants to talk to system B. For them to be able to talk to each other, for them to communicate properly, they need to agree on a particular language they want to use for communication. Now, that language they decide to communicate with is what we call the protocol. So the protocol is like the rule that governs how these computers communicate on a network. So in order for two computers to talk to each other, they must speak the same language. So that same language is what we call protocol. So you can think of protocol as just the language that is spoken between network devices. So there are different types of network protocols and standards that we have in use, and they are required to ensure that your computer, no matter the operating system your computer uses, no matter the network card, no matter the application you are trying to use, can communicate with another computer that is either located next desk or halfway around the world. So on this call, for example, there are people in Kenya, people in South Africa, even people in Nigeria here, they are very far away from where I am, but we are on this call, we are able to use Zoom together, and that's because Zoom uses a particular protocol that allows for communication no matter where we are. So the language in use that we can use to reach one system to another, or reach one system and get to the internet and be able to talk effectively, Those are what network protocols are. And we have various type of protocols. But before we get to that, another important thing to us, even as red teamers, is the idea of ports and port numbers. So let me ask this question. If you hear the word ports, what in computing, if you hear the word ports, what comes to your head? I mean, what do you think a port is? Let me ask it that way. I just need 1 or 2 answers. What do you think a port is? Okay, so I know that as ethical hackers, as red teamers, we like to, I mean, we don't like to talk too much. We like to stay silent. But please, when I ask a question, let's try to respond. So does anyone have an idea of what a port is?
Okay, so what I think I'm seeing something different on the screen, but what I used to think of what is like an opening for connection where you can connect to receive a message or an external information into your computer. Like, I mean, I know USB port and all that. That is what I used to know as a port, but I think I'm seeing something different on the screen.
All right, thank you, man. Zedi, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, literally what you said, like where you can connect if it's your USB or your cable or anything of the sort, so that you kind of get some flow of something, data, something of the sort. We have the idea in the head. The words are scarce.
I understand you. So yeah, to some extent, you both are correct actually. So when we talk about ports, Michael said is an opening, which is correct. But in networking, what you are talking about really, they are physical ports, they are computer ports. When we talk about networking, connection starts and end. Yeah, that's correct. So when we talk about networking, we're not talking about physical ports. So you mentioned things like USB ports, like HDMI ports and the likes. They are physical ports. But when it comes to networking, we're not talking about physical ports. We're talking about logical ports. And the reason I said that your definition is correct to some extent is because you said is when you have some sort of opening where you can make connections to. That is actually correct, because a port in network is it's an opening where services are allowed to run. Now, what a port is that if you have a system, you have your system, for example, and you have a web server running on your system. Those terms we will not understand fully, but we'll actually cover them. So if you have a web system running on your system now, say you want to host a website. So I think we'll understand that better. You want to host a website. You have the website deployed on your system and you want to make it available to the internet, maybe it's just to your friend or to anyone on the internet. 2 things are required, right? The IP address, and anyone that wants to access the application can open their browser and enter your IP address on port 80 to access the application. Now, port 80 that is in use, it's a port number, and because you have the HTTP service running, the web service running, that particular service uses port 80. So port 80 is like an opening. So when you have a service running, for people to access that service, they need to access it on a particular opening. So that opening is what we refer to as ports. So if you think of ports as physical opening, they are actually correct. Just instead of thinking of a port as something physical, you could just think of it in the logical sense. So instead of talking about the physical ports, now we're talking about logical ports. So they are still openings, and port numbers are just a way for us to identify specific processes or services in which we can use to send messages, or in which messages will be forwarded when it arrives to a server. So communication between 2 systems, no, we say they use a protocol. So that's the language they use to communicate. But for that communication to get to either of the systems, they need to have a particular service running on a particular port. So a port needs to be open for communication to happen between both of them, even though they have the same language they are speaking. So Every network connected devices, they come with standardized ports and they have assigned numbers. So the next thing we are going to be talking about is a lot of numbers. So I'm going to start with saying the different kind of numbers we have. So unlike physical ports where you have limited ports open, so on your system, it's possible you have a USB port, maybe 2 USB ports or 3, any number. Maybe you have an HDMI port or a VGA port or a charging port, any kind of port. They are limited, right? But for logical ports, we actually have about 65,535 ports. Now, I think it's actually, we actually have 65,535 ports. Those are the logical ports we have, the number of logical ports we have. So we are going to talk, and some of them are standard, so they are just standard ports we'll get to know, or you may already know them even as now, but there are some standard ports, and also there are some ephemeral ports and some not well-known ports like that. So these ports are just numbers, and again, they're just numbers, and most of them are just based on standard. So for the HTTP service, for example, is mostly known to run on port 80. The SMTP service, which you use for sending email, is known to run on port 25. Again, these numbers are standards, and there are things we can change, which we will see eventually when we start doing these things. So I will move to the next one, and what we will see here is some port numbers and services. They are just standards, and one common one is the FTP, the file transfer protocol. So when you think of file sharing, I mean, what we do normally is if you want to share a file, you probably send it with email or use a particular media to copy it from one place to another. But there are also there are particular file sharing services, and one common one is the file transfer protocol. And this service, again, it runs on port 21, and it uses the TCP protocol. So in the class yesterday, we talked about on the transport layer, I mentioned that there are 2 types of protocols on the transport layer. One is TCP and one is UDP. So I think by now you may have read up on those 2. And if you have not, you should do some research on FTP and UDP, and now they are different. It may be something I may get to ask us later on. But FTP service, for example, runs on port 21. SSH runs on port 22. Telnet runs on port 23. SMTP that we use for email runs on port 25. The DNS service runs on port 53. Again, all these things are just standards. And when we start setting up services, we'll also see how we can assign ports to these services. So other common one, I know most of us have heard of HTTP and HTTPS. You may know their full meaning, but when it comes to the network aspect, they run on different ports actually. So HTTP service runs on port 80. HTTPS, which is the secure version, runs on port 443. And some other ones we have here as well, like SMB, which you are also going to use as well, runs on port 445. So that is that about these network protocols and ports and services. So for today's class, being I know it's not the first general class, but officially for the Red Pass, this is our first class. So we want to do a couple of setups. We're going to do a couple of setups in class today. I'm going to show us a couple of platforms we need to register on, and then a couple of tools we may need to download against the next class. So I will need someone to volunteer to share their screen so I can walk us through how to do the platform's registration first. So I'm going to stop sharing, and anyone, if you're connected to your system, please, you can go ahead and share your screen. So who wants to volunteer? Zedi, are you on your system? Okay, Pris.
No, not at the moment.
All right. I think Pris is sharing. So thank you, Pris. So we are going to be registering on 3 major platforms, which are going to use mostly, of course, for red teaming purposes. So the very first one we're going to register on is TryAcme. So I'm going to send the link in the chat. But Pris, you can open a new tab and type in tryacme.com. So TRYHACK. No, together, please. Yeah, tryacme.com. It's also in the chat. So what we want to do is create an account. So what TryAcme is, so let me give some explanation of what TryAcme is first. TryAcme is a platform that provides us with resources, free resources. I mean, it's also subscription based, but there are some free resources we can use to learn hacking. So it has resources on red teaming, blue teaming, and other areas of cybersecurity. But for our own purpose, we are going to use it mostly for red teaming purposes. So they have a lot of good resources that can allow us to learn. So we need to register on this platform. So to register, you can go to tryacme.com. Then you need to click on the join for free button. So if you already have an account, we can work with your account. But for new people that don't have an account before, click on the join for free button. Join for free is at the top. Yeah. So if you click on the join for free button, it will take you to this page where you need to sign up. So the only thing you need on here is to supply a username. So you need to supply a username, you need to supply your email address, and also supply the password you want to use for the account. So Praise, do you have an account before?
Yes, I have an account.
You don't have an account?
I do.
You do, okay. Okay, so if you don't have an account previously, this is just what you need to do. So supply a username, pick a username that, I mean, the username is yours. Everybody should have an hacker name. And I also think I didn't mention that
Hata siperuzi mama. Mama.
sorry about that. So I also think I didn't mention that when we started initially. So you may see on the call, my name is Yanolua, but when it comes to my screen name, which I believe almost every one of us here we have, at least if you have interest in ethical hacking, you have some kind of hacker name. So for me, my hacker name is Rootfish. I go by, that's my screen name, Rootfish. So I think at some point I will ask every one of us as well, because I know you definitely have some hacker name. So you can refer to me as Yanulua or Rootfish, and anyone is fine. So for the username section, username portion, you can use any username you want. Mostly I use my screen name for it. So enter a username, supply your email address. You will need to verify the email address. So you can supply your email address, then choose a password. Once you do all that, they will send you a verification email where you need to verify the email and you're able to sign in. So please go to login and log in with your account. Let's see what the dashboard looks like. Okay. So eventually, if you log in, you see something like this where it asks you to choose your learning path. Like I said, there are a lot of learning paths that TryAcme offers, but the one we are interested in is to use it for red teaming purposes. So for this, you can leave it as it is. What I need you to do for now is to register an account on TryAcme, verify your email address, and just log in. So once you log in and you can reach this welcome page, everything is okay for now. That is what we need to do. Then the other platform we want to register on is Portswigger Web Academy. So one of the things we are going to be doing as well is to
Can
Yeah?
you go slow, please? Can you go slow?
All right. So the other platform we are going to be using is Portswigger. And Portswigger, unlike, so for TryAcme, they have a lot of various resources like Portswigger. I'm going to put it in the chat. So they have a lot of various resources, but for web application hacking, really, Portswigger is more focused on web application security or web application testing. So we are going to be using Portswigger more for our web exploits. So Praise, in your browser, please go to portswigger.net.
I have a question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, I'm still on the TryHackMe trying to complete my profile.
Okay.
About the institution type, should I take it girls?
Yes, that's totally fine.
Okay.
Praise, you can check the chat. It is Portswigger. I also want to believe most of us are following along, because when we are done setting up this platform, I'm going to ask us to share our screen. I mean, for those of us on our system, I know the only person that is not on our system is Zeddy. So I believe almost every one of us are on our system. So you'll be sharing your screen and I will see that you have completed the registration. Okay, so I'm going to wait for a minute or two for the people still on TryHackMe to finish their registration before we set up an account on Portswigger. Like I was explaining, Portswigger, what we do with Portswigger is mostly focused on web security. So if you have heard of it, if you have heard of Bob Suit before, it's a web testing tool, and Portswigger are actually like the developers of the Bob Suit testing tool. So in addition to them having a tool you can use for testing, they also have a web academy, and their web academy is actually very useful because they provide a lot of resources that we can use to learn web application security. Okay, Rachel, that's fine. So for us to register an account here, you can go to this page. You can also scroll down to read more on the page if you want to. But to create an account, we can go back to the top, then click on login. So if you click on login, it's going to ask for some details like user email and password. If you don't have one yet, just click on create an account, and it's going to ask you to supply your email address so it can register an account for you. So the way Portswigger works is you enter your email address, you click on register, then they will send you the accounts, your login credentials to your email. So make sure you use an email you have access to, because that is where they will send your login credentials to. So click on the create an account button and enter your email address, then click on register. Okay, Praise, to continue the registration, you need to check your email to get your credentials. So if you want to stop sharing, you can stop sharing to check your email, then you can come back after you have copied the credentials. Praise, can you hear me?
I heard you. I'm going on doing it.
All right. So once you get the login credentials, your email, you can just come back to login and log in with it. Kazim, have you been able to complete your TryHackMe registration?
Yes, I'm in the Portswigger, yeah.
Okay. And also, can you help me pronounce your first name? I didn't hear that.
It's Mwanamisi Kasim. You've got
Do you have a screen name,
a screen name.
like Aka name or a nickname?
Oh, Mickey.
Mickey. Okay.
Mickey
Thank you.
is, yeah.
Chris, I'm waiting for you to log in. Okay. Chris, can you still hear me? Okay, so once you have the credentials in your email, you should be able to log in with it. Yeah, getting the password failed. That's taking a while. Mickey, have you been able to complete the one for Portugal?
It's still loading.
Okay.
It's done.
It's done. Okay. Chris, I don't know if it's your network, but it's taking too long to load for you. Can you hear me though? Chris, please confirm if you can hear me. Because I don't think she can. Mickey, could you please share your screen?
Could you give me a minute to set up a password?
Yeah, sure. Okay, while I wait for who else is following along, please? I mean, this part is very important. We need to have this registration was done. So when we get to where we need to use them, you won't have to say you have not registered or something like that. So that's what I want us to do this together. I mean, I could have sent the link to the Slack channel and asked each one of us to register. I know some people will eventually not do it. So that is why I want us to do it together on a call, so just to make sure everyone knows exactly what to do. Even if you don't do it on the call, you can do it at your own time, but just to make sure you know what to do. So who else is following along? I know Zed is not on our system. Deborah, you have your hand up. Okay, you are following along. Thank you. Rosalind said done. All right, thank you, Rosalind. So Mickey, I'm still waiting for you to share your screen, please. Talia, you talked about having network issues. Yeah, I sent the links we are registering onto the chat. We are registering on TryAcme. We are registering on Portswigger, and we're also registering on AgriBox. Those are the three platforms we want to register on tonight. Then I'm going to also discuss the other tools we need to download after that. So Talia, the three platforms we are registering on is TryAcme, Portswigger, and AgriBox.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen. Yeah, so once you are registered successfully on Portswigger, you should be able to get to this page as well. Just the login page, and that is where we also, if you are able to get to this page, you're also done with the registration. So the last platform we want to register on is AgriBox. So please open another tab and go to agribox.com. And Mickey, you stop sharing. Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Mickey, you stop sharing. I don't know if that is. Or who else is on your system? I can share your screen. Rachel, are you on your system?
No.
But if you don't join, all of you, if you don't join your system next class, I will start collecting money from you people. Okay, on AgriBox, I also want to create an account. So to create the account, click on join now. So Talia, the URL is in the chat, is agribox.com. Once you're on that page, click on join now, and it should take you to the page where we need to create the accounts. So you can scroll down. Then yeah, click on join now from there. So similar to Portswigger and TryAcme, again, we are just creating an account. So you can supply your email to sign up, or you can sign up with Google accounts like Chris is doing. So either one is going to work. So you can supply your email to register, or register with a Google account. And once that is done, you also need to supply your, choose a username. Again, so AgriBox asks for some information, which I personally don't apply most times. So AgriBox being a platform, it's an hacking platform, right? So things like the full name, I don't supply full name. The reason is not because of them using it for anything malicious. It's just we are all hackers. I mean, there's some level of curiosity in you. I mean, you are in this red team part. That means you have some level of curiosity. You have some level of, I don't know if it's skepticism or something. I mean, you are skeptical to some extent. So any platforms that ask me to supply my full details, like my full name, my date of birth, being an hacking platform to even go on off is something I don't generally do. So your full name, I mean, it's just a text field. You can supply anything there. It doesn't have to be your full name. The only thing that are important is your email address and maybe your username. So things like your full name, your country, your date of birth, you have to fill them, but they don't have to be correct. That's just what I'm saying. So you may even leave them blank, I guess. Then just click on create account when you are done. Yeah, so I think for your username Praise, you have a period in between. It has to be just yeah, just text or text and numbers. Talia, about your network issues, I don't know what to do about that. But the things we need to the platform we need to register on, I've already mentioned the TV. TryAcme, Portswigger, and ActiBox. Those are the TV platforms we are registering on. So if you have network issues now, you can always maybe after the class try to set them up. Just to try to set them up after if your network issue persists. First, you really need to find a different username since all the ones you want to use have been taken.
I can't think of another one.
Uh, but yeah, really, it's just eventually when you get to think of one, that's the only thing we need to do actually. So just supply those details, click on create account, and they will also send you, an email to verify. So you need to verify your email as well. Then one other thing I want to mention is about the date of birth you supplied here. So it's possible that you use this date of birth and it will say it can't create your account because it's an hacking platform and they want to make sure you are above 18. So if you supply a year of birth that shows that you are below 18, they may, I don't know if that's how they do it, because I know when I
This is
registered.
19.
Okay. When I registered an account, I was much younger than 18 and I was able to register. So I don't know if they have enforced a new rule, but generally, whenever the registration fails, just use a year that shows you are 18 or above, and you should be able to create the account. So I think what you do, Chris, is maybe use the first part of your email address as the username. I think that is very long enough, and I don't think anyone will use that as the username already. So the period T 2020, that is very, very long. Maybe try that. Maybe add the number as well.
I'm sorry. Ian Lua.
Yeah, I can hear you.
My network had some issues and I was logged out. I'm lost. At the hack the box, I'm trying to sign in.
Yeah.
So it's HTB Academy, HTB Labs, HTB Business. Which one do I choose?
HTB Labs.
HTB Labs. Okay.
Finally.
I don't know the one I finally picked.
We are finally logged in. So if you get to this screen, click on a link account for HTB account with HTB Labs. So we want to work on HTB Labs. The enterprise is for organizations. And the academy is for, they have some sort of academy, but the one we want to use in this case is the HTB Labs option. So under the HTB account with HTB Labs, you can click on link accounts. Yeah, so you should be able to log in with your email and password now. Okay, so Praise, I'm going to stop sharing your screen. Mickey, I want you to share your screen so I see what you are getting. And for everyone following along as well, please, if you have a question, please ask me. Morenike, please use your screen name. So for all of these registrations we are doing, personally, I prefer to use my screen name for all of them, not because they are going to do anything dangerous with it, but I mean, we are hackers, right? So you can just use your screen name for them. It's fine. So Morenike, you can use your screen name for it. Okay, yeah. So if you click on Get Started, you go to HTB Labs. Yeah.
I sign in with my email or I continue the HTTP account.
So I'm saying just a particular, I'm not saying the page you're on currently. Are you sharing just okay, yeah, I can see.
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay, so to create an
Do
account,
I continue here?
no, scroll down,
Mm.
scroll down. If you scroll down, you will see join now. You should just scroll, like try to scroll the way down. You will see join now. Yeah, so click on join now. Yeah, Rosalind, you can choose students. That's fine. Talia, there's something else we need to do. There are some tools we need to download, but I'm going to talk about that after we finish this platform registration first. And I'm also going to share the file in the Slack channel, so you can just look at the file, and then download it from there. So everything you need to download the tools are going to be in that file, so you can just download them from there. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're welcome, Talia. So for the full name part, I just mentioned that Mickey, you don't have to use your legal name, but if you want to use it, of course, it's fine, but you don't have to. Okay, no problem, Rosalind. You will share your screen once Mickey is done. So the username has been taken. You need to use another one. Okay. So yeah, they're going to send you an email to verify, and once you verify that should be all. So Mickey, I'm going to stop sharing your. You can do that. Rosalind, please share your screen. Yeah, moving KG, that's correct. HTB Labs. Rosalind, if you can hear me, please share your screen. I'm not seeing your screen though. Rosalind, are you there? Okay. Please let me know when you resolve it. So while we wait for Roslyn, does anyone else have any questions? Or do you have any issues completing the registration?
So what are you putting under some of our interests when opening the hack for box?
Ask the box, right? What was the question?
Like what are some of the interests?
You can put anything there, really. It's just questions for personalization. You can also share your screen so I see what you're talking about. But generally, you can fill out anything there.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So some of your interests, you can select everything. You can select a few. It doesn't really affect the experience you have using the application. So they just use it for their own personalization records or something. So you can select anyone that fits you, that you think fits you, and click on continue. Okay. So once you get to this page, this is as for the parts, I mean, we are going to be going to with the red team parts, so you can select that, and the skill level is beginner, or if you think you are intermediate or advanced, pick anyone that works for you. But eventually, what you want to do is get to this page. You want to get to this page that praises currently. So once you get to this page, you are done with the registration. So those are the 3 platforms we need to register on. Again, you need to register on TryAcme, create an account on Portswigger. We are going to use that for web application security, and also create an account on HackTheBox. Those are the 3 platforms. Then the other thing I will talk about before we close tonight is going to be about some other tools we need to download. So Praise, I'm going to stop sharing your screen. And I'm going to share my screen. So it's going to be a file. And like I said, I'm also going to still share the file with us on the Slack channel. But I want to explain what you need to do in the file first before I share it. Okay, Roslyn, thank you. Okay, let me share this. Okay, can we see my screen? Can you girls see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, sir.
In addition to the platform registrations, in addition to those 3 platforms you need to register on, there are also some other tools we need to download and install as we are going to use them along the line. So there are a couple of tools here. One is 7-Zip. If you are on Windows 10, you may need to download this. If you are on Windows 11, you may not need to download 7-Zip because it has the extract feature we can use automatically. So you can download this. Even if you have Windows 11, you can still download it. It doesn't really take much space. Okay. So we need to download 7-Zip. So what you need to do, once I share this file, so download any of the tools there. I already put the download link, the direct download link in the file as well. So just click on it. It will take you to where you need to download. Then you can just download the tool directly from there. If you're on Linux, okay, so that's interesting. And my apologies. I just assume all of us are on Windows. But if you're also on Linux or you are on Mac OS, you don't need to download 7-Zip. So if you're on Linux, there's the unzip tool we can use by default. So if you're on Linux or Mac, you don't need to download 7-Zip. We can actually extract on Linux directly. So after downloading that, so there's 7-Zip you need to download. You need to download VMware Workstation Pro. Again, The way I created this file is mainly for Windows users. So if you go to this direct download link, it will also ask you your operating system if you want to download for Windows or download for Linux. So any of the tools you have here, if you are downloading them, just download the one that fits your operating system. So download the one that matches your operating system. So for VMware Workstation Pro as well, you can click on this link. It will take you to the page, then download directly. So I know recently there are some issues with downloading VMware Workstation Pro from their official sites. If you try to download and you have any issues with it, please just tag me in the Slack channel. I have it uploaded to a Google Drive, so I can just share that with you so you download from there. But try to download it from the official site first. If you have issues, just tag me. So I will share the Google Drive link in the chat. Then another thing we need to download is the Windows Server 2022. We are going to be doing a bit of Active Directory pen testing. So that's what we are going to use Windows Server for. The file is a bit large. So once I share the file with us tonight, some of them are a bit large. I know the Windows Server is about almost 5 gig. There's Ubuntu that is almost about 6 gig or so. So we have like almost a week till Friday, right? So we should be able to download it before then. So just make sure you have everything downloaded. As for the setup, we can do the setup together in class. If you know you can do the setup yourself, you can go ahead, right? I mean, we are very curious people, so you can figure out things. You can go ahead, but if not, we are also going to do the installation together in class. So what is required for you is to just download them, and we'll look at the setup together. So also you need to download Windows Server 2022, like I said, and then other ones we have here, the Ubuntu server. You can also download it using the link. Then same thing for, so as for the Ubuntu desktop, generally you may not download Ubuntu desktop. If you have enough space, you can download Ubuntu desktop. But if you can't download the Ubuntu desktop, you can just download Kali Linux directly. So Kali Linux is going to be our attack machine. So you can download Kali Linux. So the commands we are going to run in Ubuntu desktop, we can also run them on Kali Linux. They are both Linux operating systems. So you can just download Kali Linux and we'll use that instead. And if you have downloaded VMware Workstation Pro, you can also download the VMware version for Kali. The instruction is also in this file. So just try to follow the images. So on Kali's official page, you select I have them highlighted in red. So that's what you need to select. So select virtual machine and you download the one for VMware. And that is everything you need to do. And then to make things easier, you can just create a new folder on your system and put all the files you have downloaded in that folder so you can easily find them when we need to set them up. So if I'm using Kali Linux as my OS, then it's to download the package. So if you're using Kali as your main OS now, you don't need to download Kali again, obviously, but we need to work with Windows Server. So you may need to download VMware Workstation and also with Windows Server for us to work with. But if you have Kali already, you don't need to download that again, but you can download VMware Workstation as well as the Windows Server and Ubuntu server as well, because we are going to need them for testing purposes. So if I download Ubuntu, do I need a VM? Yeah, so the reason we are using a VM is to make sure we can run multiple operating systems on our system at once. So if you are on Windows currently and you download Ubuntu, we still need to run it in a VM. So you need to download VMware Workstation for us to work with. And Trace is asking, what of VirtualBox? So VirtualBox is fine as well. VMware Workstation and VirtualBox, they do the same thing in essence. For me, it's just a matter of preference. I've used VirtualBox, I've used VMware, and I kind of prefer VMware because it's smoother to work with, in my opinion. But if you have VirtualBox as well, and that is what you want to stick with, there's no need to change it actually. VirtualBox is going to work fine as well for everything I've just told us to download. There's only one change you need to make though. If you're using VirtualBox and you want to download Kali, The way I highlighted it here is for you to download the VMware option. But if you're on VirtualBox, what you can do is to download the VirtualBox option that you have here. So rather than downloading this one for VMware, just download this one for VirtualBox, and it's still going to work for us as expected as well. So if you have VirtualBox already, you don't need to change to VMware. You can just stick with VirtualBox. Just make sure you download the VirtualBox version for Kali when you are downloading it. Is that
I already have Kali Linux.
okay? If you have it, that's perfect. That's perfect. You don't need to download another one.
I'll just download other things.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Mickey, if you are using Ubuntu, do you have to download Kali? So, yeah, the reason we are downloading Kali, Kali comes pre-installed with a lot of hacking tools, which is going to be beneficial to us. If you can use Ubuntu as well to do some of the things we need to do, but the problem with that is you have to do a lot of installation manually. Most of the tools we are going to be using, they already come pre-installed in Kali, so we don't need to install them again. If you are using Ubuntu, you can still get them to work, but you have to install them manually, and some of them may have one dependency issue or the other. So it's better for you to just download Kali directly and use it rather than using Ubuntu. Okay, let me if there are questions, please, you can ask questions. But while I wait for that, I'm also going to share the file on the Slack channel so I don't forget. For someone that does hacking a lot, you'll be surprised I have a good fish memory. So let me just share this. So saying you can download any server of your choice, whether Ubuntu. So for the server option, what I'm saying is you can download Kali, right? So when I said Ubuntu or Kali is about the Ubuntu desktop. So if you check the file on my screen, I have Ubuntu desktop and I also have Kali. Let me scroll back to that. So there's Ubuntu server. We need to download Ubuntu server. We need that one. You have to download Ubuntu server. So I'm telling us you can choose between Ubuntu desktop and Kali. So if you want to choose between them now, you can install Kali. I think we should just install Kali. Let's just stick with Kali. Let's leave Ubuntu desktop out. The reason we want to use Ubuntu desktop is to learn more about Linux, but we can also do the same thing using Kali directly. So as for the Ubuntu desktop, everyone can skip Ubuntu desktop. You don't need to download Ubuntu desktop. So just download Kali instead, and that's what we are going to use. That's what we are going to work with. Is that clear, Rosalind? Okay, you're welcome. So I've also sent the PDF in the chat so you can look at it. And please, let's try to download these things before the next class. I mean, like I said, we'll try to make this as much fun as possible, try to learn new things, try to enjoy ourselves along the way. But again, it's going to work better if we like, I mean, try to cooperate with me, right? Try to work with me. So if I ask you to download something, please, let's try to download them. Let's have them ready before the next class. So to make things easier for us. Then if you have any questions at any point, please ask me, ask in the chat. Can I follow the class as well? You can have VirtualBox and VMware. We can use both together. It's fine. If you have Kali and VirtualBox pre-installed, what other package should I install? Yeah, you need to install the Windows Server. You may not need to install 7-zip anymore. Just install Windows Server and Ubuntu Server as well, since you already have Kali. So how do I know I'm done with the ActiveBox sign up? So if you are done with the ActiveBox sign up, it should take you to the starting point page, I think. You should be able to log in with your account. So if you have registered your accounts, go back to the login page, log in with your email and your password. And once you're able to log in, you are done with the registration. Someone is talking about sharing screen. Yeah, definitely, Mickey. Let me stop sharing. You can go ahead and share your screen. Okay, yeah, so click on the HTB account with HTB Labs. That's the one we want to use. So click on link account for that. So yeah, again, just to go over the things we need to do again. So yeah, you can log in with your email and password now. And that should be all. To go over the things we need to do again, try to register on those 3 platforms, TryAcme, AppTheBox, and Portrigger, and also download the tools that are applicable to you. That file I shared in the Slack channel. So let's try to complete that before our next class. It's going to be on Friday. I'm going to leave us to go now because I know this is almost 10 p.m. my time. And for people in Kenya, I think it should be almost 12 a.m. for you. As for the time difference as well, like Okwe said in the chat, we'll probably have to review it and communicate that to you. But you definitely get to know if there's going to be a change in time before the next class. But as for the Friday class, it's still going to stay at 7 p.m. And so that one should be at 7 p.m. I think everyone is fine with that one. The issue we have is going to be with the Saturday class, and that will be communicated appropriately. So if there are no other questions tonight, I'm going to call it a night here. And once again, thank you everyone for joining. I'm very much happy to have you on this call with me. And yep, I guess I will see you in the next class, which will be Friday. And if you have any questions with downloading any of the tools I said or any issues with registration, just tag me on the Slack channel and I will try to respond as soon as possible. Yeah, you're welcome, Rosalind. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Good night.
Yeah.